right, we're here and we're happy. I'm gonna get a little bit of the business out of the way. I'm gonna post some links on this video, and so right in front of Coach Corbin right now, we're gonna have the Yellow Jacket TV made hype video.
Oh wow!
So you can click on it and go there.
Click.
Right in front of Mr. Dooley, in just a little bit. Yeah, like that. We're gonna have. I have a summary of all the jacket. It's about a 10-minute summary of the game. So if you don't want to watch the whole game, which is going to be right in front of me, you can click on the whole game, or we have a summary game, or we have a hype video. We're pretty excited about this.
A lot of options.
It's a pretty cool deal, and so we got that. So just to keep it going. Of course, all these videos are going to be archived because they're going to be a lot more fun. Remembering this time year after year after year, and of course, I have released the entire season, and so you can.
Just in time for the holidays.
Exactly, because
that's Christmas viewing.
I mean, what better is relive a gold ball experience than at Christmas time?
Gather kids around and maybe a fire, and you just sit around and watch the games.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that's why we do it. So you can you remember when we were in high school and this happened?
Absolutely.
You can watch every stinking second of it.
Yeah, you gotta take it all the way to the end. You can't stop early.
That's the goal. That's the goal. So
Coach, you made a lot of these games this year to the very end, and then a lot of them you first half it was like, let's go on home.
Absolutely.
So it was what a season.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna start right at the third quarter. 3:38 left in the game. Of course, most groups, most teams, you're down 3 scores.
Yeah.
You give up. You accept you're beaten, and that's not what this team did. But I don't think the difference was made by any one person or any speech at 3:38 left in the third quarter. I think the difference was made in the journey. So let's go back and let's talk about the journey to the gold ball. Because again, I think we talked about last year and the year before that today actually is when we start the 2025 season.
Right.
Because it's not just one practice. It's a year-long process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, football, especially in 2024, is 365. The process, never stops. And so you really don't, just start in August. It's like obviously you started a lot sooner than that. And so the 2014 was built, 365 days ago. So it's those guys have been at it for a really long time. Following up on a couple of your points, at 3:38 left in the third, a lot of teams would fold. But I knew these guys wouldn't. These guys are built different. They're super tough. They represent our community in the best possible way. Never quit, never give up. I knew at that point, I knew we needed to get something going pretty fast because we were kind of running out of time there, down 25-7, in the state championship game. But you just kind of felt like. It could happen, and I felt like I know our kids felt like it could happen, and obviously, what the moment you're talking about is Juju running the kickoff back for a touchdown, and kind of a fun point, fun fact is Juju as a freshman ran his first kickoff return against a team called the Muskogee Roughers, and Juju 4 years later runs his last kickoff return back for a team called the Muskogee Roughers.
Yeah, I think you'd like to play them every week.
And so, they continue to kick to him, and we appreciate that. So,
well, Coach, I noticed that all the excitement was on your side of the field. Your kids were jumping up and down. They were hollering. Even before he ran it back, and Muskogee was just kind of standing over there like, wonder what's happening over there.
Absolutely.
Because it was like we're down 25-7, and we got all the excitement, we got all the energy, and it's like, hey, we're alive.
Right, and I know that that's maybe not for everybody, but also we're going to be excited. We're going to play hard. Our kids are never going to quit. They're never going to give up, and they're always going to have that belief in their heart all the time. And kind of the story behind that, behind the scenes, if you're at the game, Oregon's head coach has a mental training basically on they're playing Wisconsin this year, and Wisconsin started the fourth quarter and plays the jump around song.
Yep.
And so he changes that to an excitement for his players when they hear that song.
Mm-hmm.
And so Coach Garfield, our offensive coordinator, does that as a mental training earlier in the week.
Right.
And so our kids had seen that, heard that, and so when they hear that song,
It's
they,
time.
they go crazy and get excited, and it was just such a God thing that, that happens in the second quarter,
Yeah.
when we kind of needed it. And then it happened again after the touchdown. And so, even though we're down, like our kids'
Right.
excitement level and belief level is still sky high.
Yeah.
And so, as a head coach, you're down, and you're like, man, should I stop this? I'm like, no, like let it keep the energy going. Like, let's keep the energy
Right,
going.
right.
And I've talked to a lot of fans that were like, man, like, obviously we're kind of losing hope. And then when we look down there and see your kids still excited, we're like, okay, they're still in it. They're still
Right.
excited. And kind of to your point, you compare sidelines and, which we don't do or whatever, but like I was excited to be with our guys because I knew that like their energy level was still there. And I felt like if they gave us enough time, we'd have an opportunity to break through, and our kids did that.
Yeah, and you could have come out of halftime down. I mean, as far as down, I don't mean score because we were.
Sure.
I mean attitude, because we ended the first half with the pass to the end zone that was
Right.
dropped that would have
Yeah.
brought us back.
Right.
And you could have went in to the halftime going like, oh man, look what happened.
Sure.
Is this a Choctaw jinx, or is this the way it's going to be again?
Right.
And they could have just went out there and just say, okay, let's just finish the game. But there was none of that. It was like, okay, that happened. Can't do anything about it. Let's go play.
Right. Well, we knew, down 19-7 at halftime, and I remind them, hey, a week ago we're down, 21-6.
Yeah.
To Sand Springs. So like, I was like, we're better off than that.
Yeah.
We're not quite
Right.
down. We're not quite down 21-6. So we're a little closer to that.
So why is it you have to go down before
Yeah,
you guys start
I
playing?
can't
good?
answer that point. I don't know that. I mean, I know for everybody's heart rate, it'd be nice just to go win easily. But I also, told our kids, not to fast forward, but it's like I love that that's your story. Like, I love that. I love that that's your story. Your story is perseverance. Your story is toughness. Your story is overcoming adversity. Like, I mean, I couldn't script it any better way for our kids to win the first state title, in Choctaw history since joining 6A, in 64 years overall.
And you say the journey began 365 days ago, but I think it probably began 4 years ago when
100%.
you make the playoffs, when you make the finals. What did you learn along the way to change your preparation for this game
Absolutely.
after experiencing the preparation and what happened the last couple of times? And I know Thanksgiving, you guys have families and you
Sure.
have an event and it's special and you draw all the kids together, but was there something a little bit different this time that you did different?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a great question because there absolutely is. Every season I make notes, and I'm a big note keeper, so you can go back and look at these things, and I believe do them live. And sometimes you may see me pull my phone out and I'm like typing something in because like I have just files.
I thought you were
and
calling
files.
911.
I was, and then Juju answered luckily.
I mean, I think everybody would at the table agree that it's probably the best play you call all night.
Yeah, just
like
give it to him, yeah.
the Juju running all the way back play.
Absolutely, but kind of to your point though, it's I did learn a lot. We learned a lot as a coaching staff, and so 2020 had notes 2022, and like life's. Everybody wants to, pop something in the microwave and ding, it's done. But in reality, it's a slow cook process, and you learn. And like, I hope that I'm better than I was last year, and next year I hope I'm better than I am this year. I think that's life, right? That's everybody. And so you're always striving to get better. And I had a lot of notes, from 20 and 22, and obviously 23. And so our big theme last week, going to the state championship was do simple better. And so, like, I repeated that every single day ad nauseum to the kids, and obviously, we stole that from the Chicago Cubs, and there's pretty good little articles on that kind of stuff. But I felt like if we could do the simple things better in the state championship game, we could win. And so we tightened up everything you could possibly tighten up through practice, from special teams to block points to every single little bitty detail that you could have. And we went into this game knowing this is what we're going to call for the game winner. This is what we're going to open this drive with. This is what we're going to do on defense. This is our situation in this. And so we went over every possible situation. And we typically do these things right, so this isn't necessarily abnormal, but we really took a fine-tooth comb to every single thing because I felt like if we could do the simple things better, we could bring home a gold ball, right? And it took a long time. And so that was the theme last week, was do simple better. And so I repeated that so many times to the kids, they probably got tired of me saying it, but I mean, that was the theme every period of practice. And, and kind of last note on that is when you go back and look at our 2020 state championship game, there's 167 total snaps, okay, OD special teams. If you go back to 2022, there's 166. So you're talking about 167 snaps, 166 snaps. Then you break it down further. There was 21 snaps of special teams in 20, 21 snaps special teams 22. There was 74 offense, 76 defense, whatever it ended up being, right? So each game, and so like we start breaking it down like that to a kid, it's like, man, I need to go win a gold ball. Like, how do I do that? That's really difficult to do. But if I say, hey, listen, I don't need you to win a gold ball.
Right.
I need you to do simple better for 70 plays.
And
70 snaps.
I noticed two big things throughout the year as we got to the finals and we got to the playoffs is turnovers and penalties.
Yep.
Those things really turned it around where we didn't have to fight ourselves
Right.
like we did earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we played two state champions,
Right.
Gardner, and we played Bixby.
Yep.
And it was penalties and turnovers. And so we get to the state championship game and those things don't even crop up. And I
Right.
think when you win and you come back from behind, those are the things that help perpetuate you towards that goal, is to not have to beat yourself along
Absolutely.
the way.
And we talk to team, like, you know, like, and I understand I'm a little bit different maybe than some guys about it. Like, to me, there's different types of penalties. Like, I'll take effort penalties. You know what I mean? Effort penalties are holds, you know, obviously, hey, don't hold, right? But like, if you're scrapping and clawing, like, sometimes it happens, right? And obviously you want 0 penalties, right? So I want to say that. But a lot of times, like, if you're playing hard, like, some stuff's going to happen, you know? And, you know, so that's a little bit different. But, big thing with the kids is, like, you can do these things, like you're saying, turn the ball over, get penalties, or win a state title.
Right.
Which would you prefer? You know, so like, and they're all like, we're not, you know, we're going to be as clean as we can be, right? Because they wanted to win a gold ball. And so when we broke it down like that, you know, they really had like a Zoom focus mentality going into the game. And like, you know, if you're on the sidelines, you heard me and the coaches every single play saying, this play, this play, this play. And so I'm wanting them to know that, like, I care about this play, right? And so you start breaking that down. I got a giant elephant, right? School's never won a 6A state title, so how can I do that? It's really hard to do, right? We've been there, fell short twice, so how can I do that? It's a giant elephant. How can I do that? And we want to do it one bite at a time, right? One play at a time, one bite at a time, one bite at a time. And you're going to lose some of those plays, right?
Yeah.
And then we say, so what, now what? And if the kids are listening to this, they'll scream, next play.
Yeah.
Right? So what, now what, next play. And so just continue to fight, continue to scratch, continue to claw yourself out of it, and good things will happen.
So we're still in the state championship, but I want to go further back.
No.
Time
travel.
Because again,
Glorious.
we're going to talk about 338 and the third. We talked a little bit about, but there's a lot more to talk about. But talk about some of the important moments throughout the season, because like, I don't care how long you've been doing it. Every single year you have a new team, new leadership.
Absolutely.
And somehow they got to be this fourth quarter team. Along the journey, what do you think was important? Where was the key moments, the plot twist, the turns?
Right. Every year we have a different theme, right? From, you know, that the team kind of, you know, our mantra or whatever. And this year it's variant, right? It's kind of a weird word, you know, but you look at the definition, and, you know, one of the definitions is something that differs slightly from the standard, right? And so obviously Choctaw football, Choctaw high school, Choctaw community, the gold standard, right? But I'm saying, okay, so you're not going to blow up everything that you've done because you've had a lot of success, right? But like, if you want to get to here, like, what can you do slightly different? Right. And so, you know, a lot of the things we did throughout the season that were slightly different is we did 2-a-days for 2 months. You know, we were before school practice, after school practice, you know, which was something that we've never done before. You know, kids didn't bat an eye, you know, extra film sessions, all the kind of things to like get them to a point where, as we talked about earlier, like, you can do these things or you can win a state title. Those are your choices, but you can't do both. Right. And so they really took that ownership, and part of the variant on me as a coach, which is difficult, is like, ownership, you know, only works when we all share it. Well, I wanted to put more on the kids, you know, because it's like, well, I mean, ultimately, despite what, you know, some people may think, like, I'm not on the field with them, right? They have to make those choices. And so they get all the credit. You know, and they continue just to, you know, take the ownership, like you talked about in the fourth quarter, and just literally have a refusal to lose attitude. I mean, you know, where they would just, we're not going to lose. There's going to be no plan B, no option. They're going to get it done no matter what, you know, and so all credit goes to the kids.
Well, Coach, when you look at your team, as Coach Crowder or Mr. Crowder was talking about.
I was a coach at one time. I'm technically the coach of TV.
That's
right.
There you go. As you look at your athletes this year, your football players, as you come in through the door and as you finish the door, I would say it's a lot of good coaching this year because anybody can coach a stacked team of D1 athletes.
Sure.
You don't have that. You have a lot of kids that worked hard, worked their butts off, worked together, and you don't have 20 D1 coaches come knocking on your door. Now, they've got a lot more exposure now, and you've got a lot of great kids, but you didn't start out with that. You started out with kids that are just hard-working kids.
Well, again, like I want to give all credit to the kids, right? Because they got it done and did it. But I've enjoyed this group so much, especially this group of seniors. Go back in time, as you mentioned, in 2023, we lose in the semifinals, kind of a heartbreaker to Stillwater. And there was a certain kid that game that no one will remember that didn't necessarily make it a standout player or anything, but we're behind. And I'm in the huddle, and you've seen me on the sidelines. I'll get fiery, and because I'm in it with them. And I tell kids I'm with you. I'm not going to be standoffish. I want I'm emotionally with you. I'm never going to I'm never going to leave you. And we're on kickoff and trying to find a way to scrap back in KOR. And there's this kid. Obviously I knew him, but man, this guy just won't quit, and his attitude is just, we got it, coach, and it was Cole Tyra, number 3, and Cole Tyra's obviously not the biggest guy, but I went home that night, and talked to my wife, and we'll go talk about the game when I get home, or whatever, and I'm like, I left with I need more Cole Tyras. How can I have more Cole Tyras? I have to, this kid just won't quit, and then you fast forward, 1 year later, in the semifinal game, he gets a crucial interception against Sand Springs, and I talked to the team and talked to him about that. Isn't that fitting that this guy that just has a never quit, never die attitude, loves Choctaw football, works his tail off, just through his hard work and perseverance makes a game-changing play to get us to the state title. Then in the state championship game, just absolutely plays lights out, even though he is undersized. Right. He may not be, heavily recruited, but this guy is absolutely a stick of dynamite, and just was willing to go to a place that other teams aren't willing to go to because of his love for his teammates, his love for the program, right, and just his love for Choctaw football. And those are guys that we had. We have a lot of those kind of guys that will just absolutely do that. And so to your point, Muskogee has a lot of Division I guys, a lot. And if you're gonna, do a photo shoot and compare size, we're probably not gonna win that battle with them. They were a very large and very good team, but our kids are gonna scrap and claw, and fight to go get it done. And this group of seniors, obviously, I've noticed they're fifth graders. They're fifth graders when I got here, and my wife taught a lot of them in class, and so I've known this class for a really, really long time. And these guys, they truly do, bleed blue, and they grew up gold.
Well, I'd say the team you faced, Muskogee had the bigger size, but I think you got the bigger heart.
There's no question about it. We talked all week that they may have, quote, according to some other people, better players. We had a better team, right? And that was kind of the message that we approached all week. And that's total respect to Muskogee. My hat's off to them. A very, very good team, very well coached, and their kids are awesome. But I'll take my little scrappy guys, over them any day of the week.
Well, and kind of the difference between the two is you can. We're a fourth quarter team. I was a little bit worried that we'd be a fourth quarter team.
Rightfully so.
That end of the season, we just didn't have to play the fourth quarter. But you can start you see teams, and this is not an insult to any team, but you see teams, big, giant teams, where they get worn out as the game goes on. They start arm tackling. They start not doing the simple things better. But you see our team, this is huge running back, and then you see pow, 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 and there are people just full out, 100%, wrapping up, hitting them. If he doesn't go down, the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. And we were getting stops. And we were getting stops with 6 or 7 guys getting off the pile, and they weren't getting yards. And again, it's I guess technique, attitude.
It's just sheer will, And, you see guys you'll watch Mayor Morgan running the ball backwards, and you'll see the O-line literally just pushing, scrapping, clawing, fighting every inch. Then on defense, our Havoc D, guys literally reaching between legs to pull a jersey down. Just with their fingernails, literally straining as far as you can strain to win the game. And it's how cool are those kids?
And I think it is a team. You can't talk about Choctaw this year without talking about Tyra, Gillespie, Kiefer.
man.
Gatson comes in there and runs over people when he gets it at
Cash Williams playing the
Cash.
whole game with a torn hamstring.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
you just you can't talk about one. You have to talk about the team.
Oh, so many.
I think that
Such a tough
trophy
group.
represents exactly what it was. It's a team trophy. It's a team game, and this year it was a team effort.
We had, Colin Gribb now that, our guard played the entire year with a torn ACL.
Yeah.
And, I could make that public, but it's like,
Right.
he has the decision. I can have my ACL. It's completely torn, right? And there's nothing left. I can have my ACL repaired. I'll miss my senior year. I can play the whole year with a torn ACL. He chose to play the whole year
You're
with a
right.
torn ACL.
And-
Titus
and
Hawk
played
plays with
well.
a broken
Yeah.
thumb. You have
Yeah.
Cash Williams with a torn hamstring state championship game. And if you've ever had that, that's very painful.
Oh,
you can't hardly
absolutely.
move. And we knew what kind of pain he's in, but also knew, how much this game meant to him.
Yep.
I do want to point out that we do have a professional trainer, and
Oh.
and we have sports medicine.
Man, absolutely.
Making sure that these guys.
Well, these are parent decisions. This is
Yeah,
not a coach
yeah, yeah.
decision, right? These are kids and parents'
Well,
decisions.
and a lot of times it's like, okay, yeah, it's torn, but you could go do this, and you're not going to hurt yourself worse. Like
Sure.
it's already here, and those are the decisions of the parents and
Right.
these professionals. I just
Yeah, we're not pushing.
I'm not
kids.
promoting this, right?
Yeah,
But the
But
point
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
making is how much this program and this team meant to
Right.
these kids, right?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the point.
And the effort that those kids were willing to put forth.
Oh, 100%.
And to play because
Well,
they
like-
wanted to play.
Yeah, as a coach,
Yeah.
I mean, like how,
Yeah.
and as a fan, like how can you not respect these kids, and
Exactly.
how tough they are?
But we're also keeping them safe at the same time.
100%.
Like it's.
But I can tell you,
that's
as
how it
a
works.
father of 4 boys,
Yeah.
like I've been there, and it's like that's what you want. I mean, you want to raise warriors. You
Oh, yeah.
you
Oh,
want
yeah.
to raise champions.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right. Is there a turning place in this season where you thought the team came together?
Yeah, I thought, to be honest with you, Stillwater game, was obviously
Yeah,
a
that was big.
big game, get over that hurdle with those guys. And, what I was worried about against Stillwater is there were some plays that, like, I couldn't really coach up afterwards, meaning, like, when you watch it, you're like,
Yeah.
we can't play any better than this.
Yep.
So at that point, it's almost concerning because you're like, you really can't go much up from
Yeah.
there, right? You're kind of like hovering at the pinnacle of how you can play. And obviously there's things to improve, but man, I'm telling you, there's some plays like we keep as a staff a gold standard all-time playlist, meaning like this is a Hall of Fame for
Yeah.
every year I'm showing the next generation of kids. And like we stack so many from that game into that playlist of like plays of like, man, this is how you get it done, right? This is how you do it. And you have almost 0 coaching points because it's perfect.
Right.
And I was like, can we keep this for the next, however many weeks
Right.
that was after that, and that was like kind of my concern. And then as to your point, we didn't get challenged necessarily very much after that.
Right.
And so when we start meeting that adversity, like how are we going to respond to it? And in our kids, that Sand Springs game, I told our coaches, I said, this is going to go one of 2 ways. Obviously, like,
Yeah.
we came back and won. It's going to be a great thing, right? Or it's going to be habit forming. We obviously don't want it to be habit forming. But, I think because of that adversity early in the season, as you mentioned, playing, Kansas State champion, Oklahoma State champion, and coming up short, our kids kind of had that experience of like, hey, we can do hard things, right? We can go play hard people. We can overcome this. We can continue to fight and continue to battle. And so you have a little bit of that experience, and I call it like building a resume of like, man, I can do this. And they did. And so at halftime, there was 0 panic in our locker room.
Yeah.
0 panic.
Well,
We sat and talked, hey, this is what we need to improve upon. This is what it is. Kids like, hey, we got this. Let's go.
Well, I remember after the Kansas game and Bixby game, and it was like, can we stop anybody?
Oh.
We were like, we've got to get better.
Yes.
But we played
Yes.
really, really good teams, and when you go
Yeah.
out of conference before the district starts and you play the toughest teams you can find, you may not win,
Right.
but you know what? Your kids learn, we got to get better.
Absolutely.
Because if you play somebody and you just weed whack them away, they think they're all step on the field
Right.
and CRC, we're going to win. But no, they after surviving those 2 games and losing,
Right.
they said, we got to get better.
Right.
And so from there, I think every day after that, they worked as
Every
hard
day.
as they could
Yep.
because they knew if they're going to win this trophy, they had to get better.
This group, I literally cannot remember them having a bad practice. I mean, even after, we go beat, we're 1-2, right on the season
Right.
non-district. So we lost to Bixby, come back to practice Monday, we're 1-2, right? And it's easy to let the wheels fall
Oh, yeah,
off.
right.
It's easy to let the outside noise,
Yep.
the noise inside the boat and water start sinking it and all that kind of stuff. And they never did. They
No.
never doubted it, never questioned it. Knew that they could get it done. and just continue to work, right? And I think that that's such a cool, story about them, and that's why they're so special, because so many teams would just fold at that point, right? And they didn't. They continue to trust the process, continue to improve, continue to get better. When a lot of the outside world is absolutely on fire, and thinks that, we should be doing this and we should be doing that. And I'm like, guys, just chill out a little bit, right? Like, we're good. Okay. Like, we'll get this. Like, I wasn't panicked either.
Right.
I knew how good we were. I knew what we could get to, but I also knew, to your point, like, we have to get better and hurry. I can see the potential, but potential, only works if it's shown, and so we hadn't at that point, but I knew it could be.
And you guys had to prop them up because you didn't want them to get discouraged down on themselves, thinking, wow, we're not very good. We're 1-2.
Right.
At that point, you're 0-0 because you're getting ready to go to district.
Well, we talk all the time in our program about, just like playing our best ball by week 11, right? First round of playoffs, I want to be hitting our stride, right? And so, we don't always start fast, and we into our, to that other team's credit, like, we always play hard teams in non-district, right, on purpose.
Right.
And so it always takes us a little bit to get going each year, and that's fine, but that's part of the fun of the journey.
Yeah, I honestly don't believe a single person on your team was really focused gold ball the whole season. I really felt that they believed in the 1-0 principle, where it was like, let's beat Stillwater, okay? And, going up into the playoffs, I don't think they were going like, okay, we got to bye, we're going to just go get that gold ball.
Absolutely.
I saw, let's beat Sapulpa.
Yeah.
Let's the defense, he mentioned the defense, they're allowing a bunch of yards. Well, they allowed 11 yards against Sapulpa.
Right.
I was like, I think this group is actually come together.
We started just watching them play their technique, get to the football, just pursue it relentlessly, and just continue to do their job, do it with exceptional effort, and I'll say extreme effort, which again just makes them so much fun. I tell them all the time, I say, before the state championship game, win or lose, I said, if I can design a team from scratch to coach, right? I'm an assistant coach from earlier in my career. I'm a coordinator, right? And it's like, man, someday I hope I'm a head coach. I pray to that. I'm working towards that. But I was like, if I could design that team, it would be you guys.
Well, there's a couple students or a couple athletes that you have, and I wish I'd remember who they are. At the start of the season, I asked them, how do you think you're going to do this year? You know what they said? It's an even year. We're going to play in the state championship. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but they knew right away they were going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to, have to believe that, and work for it, and that's kind of
so
what
they just knew it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to third quarter, 3:38.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, and again, most teams just hang it up. They go through the motions, and again, you take home a silver ball. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
That's a great accomplishment. If all you get is 10 years of solid silver balls, that's something you can hang your hat on. Now, I like gold better. It goes better with my complexion, but again, second place is still really, really good. That's district champion, area champion,
right? Regional champion.
Regional champion. Yeah. There's a lot to build. We were talking before you got here. There's some teams that never make the playoffs. Now it's easier to make the playoffs with this setup right now, but when I grew up in Texas, just the district champion made the playoffs. So it was so big of a deal just to get to that level, and I felt like this team was very appreciative at every level they got to, and just they also were having fun, and that's what
they
ultimately
love each other. Yeah,
football is about, having fun. It's.
I think that gets lost so much in in prep athletics. Like they get to be old for a long time, as we know, right? You get to be an adult for a long time.
Yeah.
You get to be a kid for this much, right? And so we call it joyful obedience, meaning you do it not because someone's making you do it. You do it because you choose to do it, right? And while you're doing it, you do it joyfully. And so you can go and work and have fun, right? I can go and work my guts out and spill my guts out every day for a cause because I love it and it's fun. And so you watch them do, when they do pursuit drill on defense, or we do tempo conditioning on offense. I mean, they're sprinting, they're gutting it out. It's hot. They're doing everything, but they do it with a smile on their face, and they're doing it 100 miles an hour because they love it.
Football's changed since I was played.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing it's old grumpy coach making you do it. It's man, these kids want it. They want to win. So it's a big.
They want to get better,
and they want to get better, right? And so lifting every day, and then sprinting every day, and then 2-a-days all the time, and all those kind of things. They did it with a smile on their face the whole time. It's a great group. and just so much fun, to coach and be around.
So how did you coach him after that? You're down 3 touchdowns.
I mean, like the same thing, same mantra. We were just saying, this play, this play, this play. You're down 25-7, again, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I knew we had to get a stop, right? Then you have to score. Then you have to get a stop. Then you have to score, right? But how do you do that? Well, you win this play, right? And so, like, they were just zoom focused on winning this play. And that KOR, like we had talked about that, earlier in the week, hey, we're normally good for 3 a year. We haven't had one all year. I said, we're due.
That's true.
Right? We're due. I mean, at the most crucial time, crucial situation, it finally pops.
Right.
And, it's, do I know that was going to happen? Obviously not, right? No one can predict the future, but was I shocked? No. Know that it happened either. So those guys did it, man. Those guys are just absolute soldiers and absolute warriors.
Maybe it's a good thing you haven't had any all year because they weren't afraid to kick it deep.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So, hey, go ahead, kick it to them.
Absolutely.
My advice for, whoever's playing against Juju at the next level, don't arm tackle him.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, he's pretty tough.
Because he had a lot of arms on him.
Yeah.
And then, nope,
Yep.
and then he just had a nice little.
Absolutely.
He's a fast little dude.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Okay, so that's scored. So
Then we need to get a stop.
You allowed
get a stop.
62 yards in the fourth quarter, and some key like, okay, we got just 2 yards, just 3 yards. We're gonna give it to the big guy. Or I'm gonna take this D1 quarterback and just run it forward. Stopped him.
Right, and and even going into the fourth, like I felt like the defense was starting to take over. Right, like our defense was finally just wearing them down. And I don't know, anyone's experience out there, watching this, but like if you've gone against someone that literally just won't quit, I mean, it is devastating because you're just like, I've been beating this guy for 3.5 quarters,
right?
But like this guy just won't stop, and that gets me so discouraging. And we talk. I'm not a horror movie guy. Literally, I've never even watched one, but I know the principle of it. And there's a little character called Freddy Krueger. Yeah. Right. And what actually makes Freddy Krueger scary is the fact that you just can't kill him. Like there's no weakness. Like you can't. He just keeps coming through. Right. You think you got him, then maybe an arm shoots through the wall or something. He's clawing and scratching. Like that's the scary thing about him is not really anything but his relentlessness.
Well, and so, you can't go to sleep because that's when he gets you.
Because you get tired, right? And so we talk to the kids about, I said, man, you guys are little Freddy Kruegers. Like you just can't, you just won't stop. Like you just never stop. And so we talk about just being so relentless, on everything that you do, and I think that's a credit to the, to the kids and just their toughness you're getting in, as you mentioned, like into the third, into the fourth. Like, man, now you start seeing some stops happen, right? Because like some of these plays that were working for them earlier, because of their size advantage or possibly athleticism advantage, right? Of that, like now aren't, because it's like, our kids talk about like we're willing to go to a place that they're not willing to go. Meaning like I'm willing to to bleed out here to get this thing done. And they did, and you see that start going. And so our kids are coming over the sidelines. We had a mental training earlier in the week talking about just, a sledgehammer and a rock. How many swings is it going to take for a bus?
Right.
And our kids are coming over the sidelines like, Coach, they're breaking, Coach. I can feel it. They're breaking. Like, hey, keep swinging. And so like even when we get stopped, they're like, we got to stop it. I know they're breaking. And so that was like the mantra the whole day. And they just kept going. And they never had that lack of belief. They knew that, man, they're one swing away. They're one swing away from victory.
Well, Coach, coaching against their offense compared to Gardner,
sure,
it looked like Muskogee came out and said, we're going to do what we do good and we're going to keep doing it.
Right.
And so there wasn't different offensive sets. It looked like they were in the same offensive set every play. And so that has to help your kids zone in as they get more and more experience against what's happening as they're looking, as the block comes this way or that way. It has to help them as the game goes on because you're looking at the same set, the same plays over and over and over because Muskogee says, hey, we're going to do what we do and we're going to do it good and that's who we are. Right. So coaching that, you guys were able to get the kids in that position to make those stops.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was nothing they did that we didn't prepare for, right? Obviously, and to their credit, that's not to minimize what they do because what they do is really good, right? It's been extremely successful, 50 points a game.
Right.
Why would you change it? And you have a Division I quarterback, multiple Division I linemen. You have a giant running back, great receivers, all that kind of stuff. Why would you change? And we were had such a size disadvantage that, I would too, right? I mean, you hand the ball off to a 230-pound running back or run with a 220-pound quarterback that's also really fast and throws lasers.
With the head of steam.
Yeah, and now, your O-line averages 300 across the board and 6'5". It's like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
And so, I felt like, but, obviously some of the stuff, as we mentioned earlier, that worked earlier in the game, like, stopped working because, and I felt like just because of the effort of our kids.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could see it. We could all see it, and nothing to diminish that program because that program, the Muskogee program, is awesome. But you can see body language. You can see the body language. It felt like that our kids, kind of like those old wind-up toys, that every time they went to the sideline, they got wound up more.
Yeah.
And it felt like that Muskogee was playing their game, but they were getting a little bit tired. They're running out of battery, running out of juice, but ours just got hyped up. And, we talked about penalties earlier. We got about 1,400 penalties when they missed that field goal because we were so wound up. We couldn't control our joy and happiness. And we were a little nervous up in the booth, but I had joy in my heart because, like, it just
huge moment.
It literally exploded. What am I supposed to do with all this energy? We don't get to play next week. This is it.
Yeah, that's it.
This is it.
Huge moment for
and
us.
at least it was a dead ball, so they didn't get an extra chance.
Yeah,
They
no
waited until
doubt.
it was whistle blew before that.
There's a little panic in the booth, but
absolutely.
but like they had that much. They could have gone another quarter easily.
They would have went as long as it took for whatever it takes and however it takes. They're going to get it done.
I'm a little sad that we're not eligible for a bowl game, but because I would like to see this group.
Well, I tell this group
one more time.
It's so much fun to coach. I said it'd be nice to be able to take you guys on the road and you go challenge the state champ of every state,
absolutely.
and you get to continue the season, and they're so much fun. And win, lose or draw, I was going to be just extremely proud of them. We told them that before the game, like, hey, you're champions already. When you pull into the stadium, you're champions. I'm like, but you might as well go leave with the gold ball.
Right.
And I think in modern sports, so much is predicated on wins and losses. But my opinion of them would not have changed one bit, whether we came up short or not. I know what their heart is. I know what kind of kids those are. And they were absolute champions no matter what. And if you go give everything that you have to a worthy cause, you're unselfish, you work your tail off, and you do everything with great enthusiasm and effort. How can you not love being around kids like that and just want to spend every moment with them? They were an absolute blessing, this team, and I'd coach this group every single year, and just so fortunate to be able to be around them.
It appears we could have brought the silver ball home with us as well.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I'm sure they did it on accident, but anyways, I could say what are we going to do from here, but I already know what we're going to do from here. We're gonna enjoy this for as long as possible. You're going to let me know when we're putting some numbers on that press box because I'm super excited about that.
Absolutely.
But I know you guys are getting back to work, and you're going to start working.
Getting back to work.
Are we headed to Texas?
Next year we're heading to Texas.
Yep.
Yeah.
First game?
First game.
First game in Lubbock.
But going back, finishing stuff on this real quick with this little group. This group when they were coming in their 9th grade year. We set them down on the 20-yard line and said, "Hey, you guys will be the winningest group to ever come through here." And I said that
That's true.
you guys are going to bring this place first state championship, and they remember it like it was yesterday. And you have to speak those things into existence, to make those things happen. And this group, could not be more proud of them. Other little fun fact about the game is, and I'll make the story a little quicker, but we talk about like I said, we try to make the game into manageable bites, right? And so you start looking at like the average length of a game, all these kind of things. I knew that Muskogee's not a high tempo offense. They huddle, all these kind of things. They don't throw a ton. They can throw, but not a ton. So the number we came up with was 2 hours and 37 minutes. The game starts at 7, 2 hours and 37 minutes. So we kept saying, hey, at 9:37, like this season's gonna be over, right? Like you need to empty the tank. Like it has an expiration date. It's a finite amount of time. 9:37, 9:37, 9:37, all week. 9:37, 9:37, 9:37. When they miss the kick, our offensive line coach pulls his phone out. 9:37.
There you go, Coach.
On the dot.
See?
And I just feel like God's blessed this team so much and had his hand over these kids and just been such a, they've been so blessed. And it's just so many cool little stories like that with this group that made it special. And so, couldn't be more proud of these guys. I love them. I know that they made Choctaw proud. And how can you not want to watch these kids? I mean, I tell you, paying $10 to get a chance to watch these guys go just, absolutely do everything that in their power. Like, just such a special group of kids.
I mean, it's. I want to watch it again.
Man.
In fact, you can right here.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just right
I've
here.
enjoyed every game, and it's been a real joy this year, and not a whole lot difference than the other years. I mean,
No.
It really is not, except this year it's gold, and that makes it special.
Right.
But the kids work hard. Next year you'll have
Sure.
a team, and they'll play hard, and there'll be some different names. There'll be some
Yep.
new names, but you know what? They have the same expectations.
Sure, and you know, and I love that you made that point because you know the 20 team, the 22 team, man, those guys gutted it out and did everything that's asked of them and paved the way, right, to be able to get where you are. And you know, side note, one of the coolest things to me, and I've mentioned it before on the show, but like we had, I mean, a whole roster of former players there to watch these
Oh, yeah.
guys. And
Oh, yeah.
when
Oh,
we
yeah.
won it, you would have thought that they were still in a helmet because they're
Exactly.
so invested in the program and these kids. And that makes, you know, me as a coach, especially as I continue to get older, I'm so proud of that because Choctaw football is a family that doesn't graduate, you know, no matter what. And then on top of that, you have my little guys out there too, you know, and so you got the little INFC guys out there, you have the current guys, then you have the guys that graduated that are off doing great things in life, but that family never graduates.
And the band showed up. They
Did a great
were
job.
full.
Absolutely.
I love the way that the tradition that you guys go in front of the band and the cheerleaders, the poem, the dance. You guys all celebrate together after the game
Absolutely.
because you all help each other along the way. And
It's one big family.
it's just and the Choctaw stands. You had a lot of support. The
It's
team
packed.
did. The stands were
absolutely.
full. It looked like. Well, it looked better than a UCO game.
Yeah,
You know, we
absolutely.
filled the stands, and that was really special.
Now, since you made that point, I will say he said he did 2 days before school and after school. He did it before band practice because he didn't want to disrupt their.
Yeah, so those
Yeah.
guys work so hard and
Yeah.
they're so good.
And so he works.
Great
He,
job.
he works with the band. Band works with him, but like he made his kids come even
Yeah.
earlier so the bands could have their morning
Well,
practice.
sure, Mr. Erie and his staff are first class and do such a wonderful job, and that's to your point is like what another million things that makes Choctaw great is every program works together. Like we respect how hard band works. Our kids respect how hard band works, and like understand that man, these guys are competing too.
Right.
Like they're out to be the best. You know,
Yeah.
they work their tails off. They do 2-a-days every day.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
so they work their absolute tails off.
And another difference, and you've been at several different schools, another difference is that the programs, athletic programs, support each other
Wow.
here at Choctaw.
Well, some
You
of my
had
best friends are the head
basketball
coaches
players.
of other sports here.
You had baseball players, basketball players, wrestlers playing football, and it wasn't like, this is my kid, I need him all year so
Right.
he'll get better. No, it's football season, go play football.
Right.
And so I like that attitude, even though it's a 6A school.
Right.
So many schools make the kids divest themselves of choose what you want to do and try to do that to the best of your ability.
Right.
And here at Choctaw, it's like, go play.
Right.
You're an athlete, go play.
Well, you represent the brand. You know, the brand is Choctaw. It's not Choctaw football, right? The brand is Choctaw. Period.
And I saw you got
that's
carried
it.
off the field.
Yeah.
Or got carried.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, Caleb Murray and some others, I think, kind of got me there. I was a little bit wet and I tried to avoid the first ice bath,
Yeah.
but the second and third one got me pretty good. So
Well, it was a celebration time afterwards.
yeah, it was really cool.
UCO was saying, you got 10 minutes, you got 5 minutes, please get off the field. And everybody was still
So, hey,
celebrating.
this has been 64 years. We're gonna stay here for a little
Absolutely.
bit.
You leave the lights on. We're staying.
Yeah.
Or turn the lights out. The party's not over. You can
That's
turn the
right.
lights out.
That's
They,
right.
they tried, but I mean, again,
Listen, that's
you couldn't turn off this group. They were
No.
just
No.
so wound up, and
Yeah.
they had another hour or two.
Oh man,
They probably would have never left the field.
yeah.
And
No,
those
they love
seniors
each
in
other.
their uniforms, they didn't want it to end.
No, they
So,
absolutely love it, and
yeah.
I promise you, their coaches didn't either.
Yeah.
You know, win, lose or draw, like it's just
Yeah.
such a special group.
Well, I think we probably need to wrap it up because we're trying to get people to watch this thing, and I don't want them to turn it off. So I'll let you have last word, and then I'll close us out.
Last word, Coach, it's been a wonderful year, a lot of hard work, some ups and some downs.
Yep.
I'm sure in the clubhouse, things you don't tell the public. There were some players that you had to work with. There's some players you lost along the way because of playing time or position time, and that always hurts you as a coach. I know,
Sure.
because you want those kids to be out, you want them to play, you want
Absolutely.
them to have fun, and but you can't risk what they want against what the team needs. And so being able to juggle both of that, you've done a good job, and what a great year. And, you know, we look forward to next year starting already.
Okay, we're going to enjoy this one for a little bit.
Yeah. Anything else to say?
Other than season starts in Texas next year.
Yeah, it
Yep.
does.
Absolutely.
Well, here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a golden basketball right here.
Yeah, let's go.
And maybe, is it a golden glove?
I don't know. I don't know what baseball
I
is.
think so.
But let's pretend it is a golden glove.
Let's do it.
I'd like to see, I'd like the fans to keep going to these
Absolutely.
things.
Soccer?
Well, we can add
Is it
more
gold?
but we can keep going with these things.
All things.
Let's
You're a
just keep
kicker.
going because
Braden McClure.
we got a second in softball this year.
Yep.
Band got second at their state
That's wonderful.
competition, and so let's keep this Choctaw winning
Yeah.
going. And of course, winning is not just represented by an awesome trophy. By the way, this thing's heavy. It's an awesome trophy. It's a really cool trophy. It's not just by trophies. It's winning is by participating and by doing your best and giving your best effort
Absolutely.
and living up basically to the gold standard.
Yep.
And so, until next show, or you can watch me do basketball next Tuesday.
Let's go. I'll be there.
Stay golden.